You know what the problem of youth is today? They're too protected. They don't know anything. They don't have any experiences. Okay, so this is the idea. Do you feel like you didn't have a chance to experience independence? Do you live with a lot of fear? What did they tell you all of the dangers were? To what degree have you held on to certain fears that other people put onto you that weren't really yours to have? Like, oh, be careful about that, or don't walk alone at night, or don't this or don't that, or whatever.
So they were moving up and down from house to house to not get hit or something. So
to not get bombed.
Yeah, basically.
This overprotecting kids. What I'm hearing from the two of you is people have this idea that your generation, man, you've been coddled way too much. And it's quite problematic, actually, the amount of coddling that you've experienced because of the fear of kidnapping, the fear of crime, the fear of war, right? The fear of violence, the fear of whatever, fear of something. You've missed out on an opportunity to strengthen your competence, your confidence, your independence, opportunities to solve these everyday problems that you have. You're not out. You're not experiencing the world. Everyone's just watching. Oh, be careful. Don't do that. So you haven't had the idea is that you have not had the opportunity to live without fear. Okay? This is a narrative. It's a very strong narrative. In fact, I got a text message from a buddy of mine who watched one of the classes this semester, and he said, you know what the problem of youth is today? They're too protected. They don't know anything. They don't have any experiences. Okay, so this is the idea. So I had this thought, let me just ask you all about this. Let's ask you. You're the experts on your own lives. Because I also have the idea that people don't change very much from one generation to the next. Because people ask me all the time, how are your students today? They must be really different than when I was a student. I'm like, no, they're not really. I don't see much difference. But I don't know. So you all tell me. So here's my first question. When you hear this statement that you've been coddled too much, protected too much, what's that mean? What do you see?
I was going to say, I know personally when people talk about oh, your generation's coddled, it feels like it's like a personal dig sometimes about that we're soft in a way that previous generations weren't.
Ah, okay. And you feel like as though that's some kind of an attack or something.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel soft.
No.
Do you feel like you didn't have a chance to experience independence? Do you live with a lot of fear?
I was gonna say, I don't know how the level of fear people experience compares to previous generations. I think it'd be hard to say. I think the things that we're afraid of might very well be different. The risk, the things that the risk to us are different than the risks that our parents or grandparents might have seen.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna come back to that. I want to ask you what you think those risks are. Simon, how about you?
In Lebanon, it's different than here. Way different than probably any country in the world. We probably don't have electricity 24/7 or water. So we probably had to 2 hours a day we had hot water, or an hour say. So we had to live through those. We had to have a time for every slot. The whole family had to go take a shower during these 2 hours, and the last person that goes gets cold water, I guess.
So this is very, and also very recently, because you've been in a big crisis.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
In Lebanon, we like solving problems. We don't rely on the government at all because it's not reliable at all. So we had to get our own sources. Every household had to get his own sources. people think of Lebanon as a country that's poor in some way, but for me, Lebanon is probably one of the best countries in the world. Like, I would rather Lebanon than here, but due to circumstances right now, Lebanon doesn't have the opportunities the USA have. So pretty much Lebanon to like, it's a survival mode. Lebanon is more than a survival mode than like living.
Wait, so just go, I'm going to stay with you for a second. Go a little further.
Okay.
What do you get there that you don't get here? Think about like these things up here. Like, what did you get growing up?
Well, so growing up, it was more like, I definitely was like, my parents took care a lot of me and my sister. So we were like most of the time either with my grandparents, Christmas was with the whole family, and those probably everyone has the traditions here, but still, like those feelings are very different when it's back home than here. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we have like difficulties, but we don't fear because sometimes we're like, it will work out in some way or another. I trust God a lot in my life.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I did not, but it's not until now. But pretty much my family was a lot Christian than me, so they trusted God all the time. But it was always working out most of the time.
Yeah, so things just work out.
Yeah,
okay.
they worked out. Like sometimes, like we don't get electricity, we had to like turn on candles.
Yeah.
In the entire house, or sometimes we would just go out. We had protests, war, everything. You guys probably hear everything on the news. So yeah, if you guys think of Lebanon as a war country, well, technically you're wrong, but still, that's all I want to say.
So I moved when I was 14 by myself to Switzerland, and then I lived in Switzerland for 2 years, and then I moved again to New York City for 2 years, which is where I graduated, and then I'm in PA. So like I've seen kind of very different realities and very different everythings. And I wouldn't necessarily say I was coddled, but I think in my experience, it's more about like looking for opportunity and kind of going after it yourself. So when we talk about like independence, like that's something I kind of acquired because, well, when you grow up in Brazil, you get told like, this is not where you want to stay. This is not where your end goal should be. Like my family's still there. My childhood friends are still there. And don't get me wrong, beautiful place. So much fun. Like, you know, there's amazing sides to it, but it's not where you want to grow old.
There are more opportunities elsewhere.
Yes. Like that's what you're looking for. That's what you're trying to do. So.
Hey, let me ask you this. What were you taught to be afraid of? What were you taught? What did they tell you all of the dangers were? In Brazil?
Everything.
Everything?
Like it's not don't do anything because you're afraid to do it. It's just like be smart and be on guard all the time.
So be on guard all the time.
All the time. Like there's no like leave your bag to hold your chair. Like if you do that, you're just like dumb. Like that's why a lot of tourists get pickpocketed or robbed or whatever, which gives us a worse reputation because everyone trusts everyone too much, or we trust everyone too little.
So how did that, receiving that message, how did that hold you back? Yeah, just hold you back, like from like solving problems, like living, like I don't know, like.
I mean, I guess it makes you more cautious of everything you do.
It made you more cautious.
But in contrast, Switzerland was like the polar opposite of that. Like everything is perfectly fine, perfectly on time, perfectly organized. You can trust. It's kind of like
Korea.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I don't know. I've had both ends of the spectrum, and obviously I didn't live as a Swiss person would because I was raised differently.
So when you got to Switzerland, how long did it take you to just settle in and not look over your shoulders all the time? And
I still do it. Like no matter where I go, it's kind of like wired
do it?
in. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Huh. Well, you were there for 2 years. Then you went to New York City. So New York City, you're going to be in that. Wait, do you have one of those Korean moms who does everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiger mom.
Tiger mom.
Honestly, when I first saw that question, what first came to mind was I don't know if that's the direction we're going, but the fear of getting compared to others. I think that's what really made ourselves protective to ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't represent all Koreans. I just represent myself, so I don't know if this is right or wrong. But I think Koreans tend to not, like standing up too much, like standing out too much. So we
No, just like when you had when we had the conversation the other day about your test score, you were like really reluctant. You didn't want to say.
Yeah.
Because even saying means that you're kind of standing up. So
Right.
You don't want to say anything.
I mean, it definitely depends on what you're saying.
Yeah.
But usually, we don't want to stand out, and we just want to be, like maybe humble and just into ourselves,
Okay.
and just take things by ourselves. So but like growing up in Korea and taking the education there, everything's like relative grading, and you always get compared to each other. So I think it's not like the government forced us to be that way, but still there were, certain moments that made myself protective to.
But the culture does.
Yes.
And so a question is, so we have this critique. Young people today in Lebanon, Brazil, the US, whatever, but especially here in some countries more than others, you're not taught to take care of yourself. Like you're not given that opportunity to be free in the way that your parents and your grandparents and other people did. Do you think that's true?
In Korea?
Yeah, for your life. Yeah. Do you feel like, wow, I was really kind of held back and not given these opportunities to express myself and be independent?
I actually think it's the opposite.
Whoa. Okay. How so?
I think like the older generations were like that, and like as time passes, there are of course a lot of pressure when it comes to like getting jobs in Korea and studying there, but still there are opportunities open, and we still have the voice to kind of represent ourselves.
Right. Okay. And in part, social media for all four of you, social media becomes a voice in which you can really express yourself and experience the competence and confidence. What were people protecting you from? What are they trying to protect young people from? What do they not want to have happen to young people?
Like giving up? Is that the right?
I don't know. You think?
Because it's really competitive there, and like Korea has been to poverty, war, and also a massive growth in economy. So everything changes really fast, and people, especially young generation people, are having a hard time like getting jobs and trying to like communicate with others. And
so they're in a way they're protecting you from laziness. Not laziness, but giving up. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jaden, how about you? Like, what were the adults in your life trying to protect you from?
So I think like the big obvious thing that we try to protect that everyone tried to protect kids from was like physical danger, right? That we want to make prevent physical harm from coming to kids, right? Like that's why you make sure why you do all the precautions of stranger danger stuff to keep your kids from getting kidnapped, even though it's very unlikely. I think growing up in say college particularly, there's a lot of pressure placed on academic performance that particularly among my peers here, because so many of our parents are so academically are so academically successful that there's
so when you're going back to protecting you from the stranger danger, whatever it is, what do you remember of that as a kid? Like to what degree, hang on, let me ask this question. To what degree have you held on to certain fears that other people put onto you that weren't really yours to have. Like, oh, you be careful about that, or don't walk alone at night, or don't this or don't that, or whatever.
Not sure like what specifically I felt onto from that. Like I think
So this idea of the coddling of young people, you don't really feel like you were coddled?
if our generation was more coddled than the generations before us, it's because our parents were like had more ability to coddle us. It's not that like
I got you. Yeah. So they could coddle you. Right. Like, you know, your parents, or my parents, they couldn't coddle me because well, first off, my dad died, and then my mom was busy working 3 jobs. So, I raised myself, man. I made my lunch. I did this. I did that. I basically, to a great degree, raised myself. So it's like, yeah, there's nobody coddling me. So you're saying, yeah, well, that's part of the thing. Like, you're able to do that.
I think one point that we might be overlooking is the fact that, especially post 2000s and after the internet boom, technology has had a very, very large impact on our generation.
Technology.
And that's why I feel like older generation, maybe our parents or our grandparents, if you wanted to do research in the late 90s or the late 80s, you would have to go to the library,
Yeah.
ask somebody what are the relevant documentations, figure out the authors and do it. Now you can just search it on your phone.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to do like a scan of something,
Yeah.
you couldn't even email somebody. You had to call them. You had to.
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
a lot of shortcuts right now that we have.
So
which
you can sort of maintain yourself, keep yourself in the safety of whatever environment it is that you've created for yourself.
Exactly. I feel that. I mean, everybody is constantly saying that the world is a smaller place because of how connected we are all the way around the world.
Let me ask you a question real fast. So in India, growing up, to what degree were you coddled compared to people who came before you?
I feel like, I mean, my entire philosophy, one of the main reasons why I wanted to leave India and come here was because I knew that my dad always, I knew that my dad would always do everything to make my life easier. And I didn't want that because I wanted to get a little bit into the rough, grind a little bit, do a lot of the work. So I feel like in a certain way, especially in high school, a little less so because that's when I sort of started going out.
Yeah, here, let me just ask you this question real fast, and I don't want to go to you. Is you feel like you needed to leave because you didn't want to be coddled? You didn't want to be taken care of. How different are you than other people you grew up with?
I think safety is a very, very, very bad thing.
You think it's a bad thing. How about your friends?
Well,
How about other people you grew up
that came
with?
out wrong. I think comfort is a very bad thing.
Comfort is. Okay, but compared to your friends, how different are you?
I feel like some of my friends have gotten so used to the fact that you finish school, you get a job, you start getting, you get married. There's a linearity in life that you just have to follow.
Okay.
And there's a certain things that you have to do. And a lot of, I mean, I'm also, because of the way we grew up, I also stand in that line of like, we have to do certain things. But I just feel like if I want to be the best version of myself, I have to do things that.
You got to be independent. You got to take opportunities to live without fear. Yeah.
Not only without fear, I just have to
do things, try things.
Try things which I probably wouldn't be allowed to if I was back home. Like this, for once.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. This idea of like being taken care of and like you don't get enough independence. And, how true is that for your friends?
So, for me, when I was a kid, when I was born, there was a war, and my parents, like my grandma and my parents, my grandma and my mom were living in a city that's close to the war. So pretty much I was there, so they were moving up and down from house to house to like not get like hit or something. So
to not get bombed.
Yeah, basically. So like when I grew up, they wanted to make sure that this will never happen to me or my sister. So they wanted to make sure that we're protected as much as we can. So we like pretty much we moved very like far away. It's like middle Beirut up. So it was safer for us. So like they made sure that we were like safe and sound and nothing happened to us whenever there is a war and stuff like that.
All right. So I want to, if you were to advise parents, you can't advise them to, hey, raise your children in a war zone. Okay. But you could advise, it sounds to me, listening to you, as though, wow, you had these really, what most people would say are really difficult experience.
Well, I didn't see them. I was a kid. I don't remember.
You were a kid. Exactly. That's the point. But other people who are listening to what you're saying are thinking that, oh, I never want that for my kid or me. But what I'm hearing from you, what I'm sensing from you is, yeah, but that's, in a way, is like kind of what gave you a certain character.
Yeah. No, like right now, let's not talk about war, but like say there is a war, we're like, no one's afraid in my family. So like, you could fly from the airport and they're bombing it.
Yeah.
Like that's how.
No, I've been in I've been in some zone. I've been in some situations that many situations that most people would never want to be in.
Yeah.
And when I think about my life, and I think like, you know, years later, whether it's weeks or months or years, and I look back and I'm like, that was really stupid. That was really dangerous. That was really, really, really not a good idea. But
it was worth it.
Damn, go for it. But yeah, okay. That's part of who it's there, man. Like I carry that. I got stories that I never, ever, ever tell the world that I was like, I wish I could just tell the people this story. It's a cool story. But a lot of times people wouldn't believe it. You get to Switzerland, but you grew up in Brazil in this space where and clearly you have money, right? So you're protected from certain things, but you grew up in a certain space of like, where you're on edge all the time. But when you look back on that, to what degree do you look back on that with a certain fondness? Like, or did you look forward? Because you'll maybe end up in Brazil. Who knows where you'll end up? But to what degree do you look back on that as like, hey, I helped develop. This is who I am, man. Like, look here. Kiana's had experiences that you just can't imagine. You know what I mean? Like being like, I know what it is when she says, "Yeah, you're just taught to be." Aware all the time. It's like, yeah, you're taught to be aware all the time. How much of that created your unique personality?
First two, like competence and confidence, I think that's a lot of, I got a lot from where I came from with that. And I guess independence too from moving, but it's definitely a big part of who I am. And it's like something that I exchange with people here. Like all my roommates are from, two of my roommates are from Jersey. One is from Pennsylvania, like pretty nearby places. So they don't think the same way that I do a lot of the time. And I'm like, bro, this is so obvious. Like, it's like obviously like this, like, why wouldn't you think like that? And then they're like, no, why would you ever go so like dark or in that direction or take it that way, X, Y, and Z. I think it can be good. And it's a big part of who I am and how I navigate situations, but obviously like it takes away like your innocence, I think, at a really young age. I was never really naive at stuff like that. You can't really afford to be naive and have these
okay. And so this idea of, like the coddling of this like overprotecting kids, what I'm hearing from the two of you is, don't do too much of that, because it's like, stuff. Your kid's probably not going to get kidnapped, so don't worry about that. There might be other issues, but just be careful, and it's probably not really a big deal. And you weren't coddled, really. Well, you were to a degree, in Brazil. Wait, were you living by yourself in Switzerland, or did you went to boarding school?
Yeah, I went to boarding school.
Okay.
So it was like, even that's coddling. That's like ultimate coddling.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So it's
Especially when you show up from Brazil.
yeah.
You're like,
So that's like like everything is just flipped upside down. But there's like the word competence. I do think I'm like generationally kind of incompetent. Like
yeah.
not because of where I was raised or anything. I just like, there's no way that I would be like going to the library and like sitting for like infinite hours, like looking for like a term somewhere in some book